just in time. The word lagare, you know what the word lagare means? I came from the ASEAN Defense Universities as chair of ASEAN. We're chair of ASEAN, and ASEAN celebrating 50 years. The ASEAN Defense Universities and Colleges in Sofitel, where the NDCP, National Defense College, my alma mater, was the chair. So I just met with generals and security experts, and now I go to the scientific experts on climate change. And as I speak now, the Department of Tourism budget and the Department of Education budget and so many agencies of government are being heard. So I'm absent from their hearing, which I chair, and I ask my vice chairs to conduct the hearing, which is really done, because I could not say no to the Climate Change Center and the Oscar Lopez Center, and seeing the names like Rosa Perez and Roder Lasco and Pete Maniego and Rex Cruz. I didn't think I'd see Sunny Alvarez, but you know, it's Sunny you should have here to speak, not me, because it's really Sunny who's the expert. But what do I say? You are the experts. So my simple message to all of you is, let's make science work for us. Science is so important. There's so much scientific research. We have so much information of commissions and councils and books and journals and studies. You have mitigation and adaptation experts, you have DRR experts, you have experts on the circular economy and the blue economy. All of this, you have Manila Observatory, you have UP Los Baños, you have the UP Resilience Center, we have NGOs, WWF, OML, CI, so much, Greenpeace, so much, and the UNESCO group of CECIL. But we just really, the challenge is not more research. You may disagree with me. Well, it's good. I'm not against research. I'm not against science. In fact, I always believe that immediately, as soon as we have new scientific research, share it with those in government, in the private sector, so that we can actually operationalize and use all of this. Because all research that stays in our brains, in our archives, in our hard drives, could be a life lost. So all of these technical matters also, I'm not even reading my speech yet, yes, I'm just, yes. So that's the most important thing. While I believe in investing in scientific research, for me, the more important thing to do is to reach out for the scientific community and the technical experts, to reach out, not just to government, but to private sector, to businesses, to the UNISDR private sector headed by Hans C, who owns this big structure, so that we see, so that you reach out to the barangays, to the local government ligas, so that they all adopt, and adapt, so that all of our brilliance and knowledge does not stay with the 200 people in this room. Are we on Facebook Live? Yes, we are. Yes. Just so that even those who do social media would embrace climate change adaptation and mitigation and disaster risk reduction as a way of life. Kung yung passion ng nag-social media ay kasing igting ng pag-iintindi at sa paggawa ng pang-araw-araw na buhay sa DRR at CCA. Ambassador Lipang does not understand my Filipino. Yes. I'm just anyway. So, thank you for having me here today. Wala na kayong sawa sa akin. I know why the Climate Change Commission keeps on inviting me, because it's budget season. Because they actually have a budget augmentation. Let's see in 2019, when I'm out of the Senate, if these commissioners will still know me and invite me. Anyway, so our gathering here today manifests an important matter, that climate change should not be addressed in isolation or solo, but through an effective collaboration of all our efforts from different fields and specializations towards ensuring the safety of our people amid the realities we are facing because of extreme weather events. As I speak now, are the floods of Maguindanao still happening? Perhaps because of so much news, hindi nabibigyan ng pansin. But the NDREAM and Climate Change Commission, maybe you can assign one of your staff to find out. In fact, I'd like to know because that's been going on for as long as the Marawi crisis has been happening. Pero nalulunod literally nalulunod yung storya ng baha sa Maguindanao dahil sa mas mararaming kino-cover ng media, which does not mean that it is not as important. So, I would assign the Climate Change Commission to look into the Maguindanao floods. And is this brought about by soil erosion, by the river becoming more shallow, by forest denudation that is causing the erosion? What needs to be done? And if you could give that to me within the week so that I can ask DPWH, which I'm hearing today at 1 o'clock for their budget, to dredge. Maybe we could have NGP, National Greening Program, do more intense reforestation in the areas near Maguindanao where the floods are. So we see that the issues of climate change should not be taken in isolation. It should be taken from the perspective and to work closely with public works, with the OTR, with infrastructure, with DA, and the AMAYA of the projects of the resilient farm communities of the DA. It should work closely with the Department of Energy. So it would be good if all the experts who spoke before me and after me would actually sit down with the cabinet members so that all the brilliance of Rosa Perez would be understood by our cabinet members, so that the trend or seemingly veering towards coal and the lack of understanding of the immensity of the negative impact of coal and other fossil fuels would be understood. I'm not saying they don't understand. All I'm saying is that if they talk to you more, if they talk more to Rosa, to Rodel, and to Rex, and to Sunny, never mind me, then they would understand it better, Susie, or Leah. So our inaugural forum, Linking Science, Policy, and Practice for Climate and Disaster Resilience, that's great. And if I may add, we don't just link, we don't just converge, we actually embed it together so that the actions will reflect the linking and the convergence. In fact, all the research should be actual research, not just research for the sake of science, but actual research on how to operationalize it in the public and private sector. So, all our climate action through policy reforms and project implementation should be guided by the results and analysis that we gather from all these scientific undertakings. I believe that in this approach, this is clearly what should be done. And that is what I have been doing to the best of my ability in the GAA of 2017, in the GAA of 2018, that's General Appropriation Act, but in the national budget, all the agencies, even the SWD, and their Sustainable Livelihood Program of unspent $7 billion. So you'd probably say, what does the research of the Climate Change Commission and the NDREAM-C got to do with SLP of the SWD, or the AMAYA project of DA, or the NGP of the DNR, or the DOST's CES programs? All of these programs really should be known by the Climate Change Commission. In fact, what I ask you to do, the two commissioners are here, what is the third one? Okay, who's in charge of the economy? What you need to do is read the NEP and see where your policies and the research output of all our speakers here today would apply to DOE, to the SWD, to the NR, even to a commission you may not know, let's say, National Historical Commission. What I'm saying is that since you are the policy-making body that I created by law You're not supposed to implement actual projects, but build capacity. So make the science work for the whole bureaucracy. Connect your science of adaptation and mitigation and disaster risk reduction and knowledge of the blue economy and the circular economy and integrate it in the GAA. And that is what I expect from the Climate Change Commission with the help of Rosa, Rex, Rodel, etc. So, such is also the case, not just for the national budget, for all 1,634 local governments. Is it 1,710? Maybe that includes the provinces. Yes. So, that is the intent. If the Department of Agriculture thinks resilience, if the DepEd in implementing the school building program thinks resilience, if all local governments think resilience, then I think there would be much more lives, less lost. There will be less wastage and losses in our national government resources. Then our planning for buildings and infrastructure, for PS even, and MOE, and our activities and programs will be geared towards resilience. So, you know very well that as mandated by the 2009 9729, you know that, the Climate Change Act. So, we have to make sure our local governments formulate their own local climate action. I believe I have the commitment of the Climate Change Commission to make sure our local governments have their LCCAP. Did we say 30% of LGUs? 37%. And did you say that within 2018, all LGUs will have a semblance of an LCCAP? Hopefully. Let's see. So, LCCAPs are not just a simple document that LGUs submit for mere compliance. I hope it's not. It is the intention of our LCCAPs to incorporate risk assessment and understanding into local development planning processes and systems. I think this is where the National Resilience Council can also help, the Manila Observatory, the UP Resilience Center of President Danny Concepcion and Dr. Mahar Lagmay, the many NGOs doing it, I think really helping the LGUs. What I can suggest you do is you partner with all these various professional organizations and divide the LGUs per region. Let's say these 3 remaining regions, the balance of the 37%. Okay, OML, help us with this. MO, help us with this. UP, Resilience Center, help us with this. Public Safety College, help us with this. DAP, help us. Local Government Academy, all of this. So you will have a partner shepherd to help and shepherd our local governments in understanding what is climate change. Some may not even know. What is the role of the Commission? How do you actually do an LCCAP? What are the tools needed and what are the resources needed to develop the LCCAP? So at the heart of it is a strong consideration to climate science and data born out of tedious research and understanding of the prevailing risks within a particular community. This approach should then inform policies and practices for strategic adaptation and mitigation initiatives to be undertaken and to be prioritized by our LGUs within the respective communities. If we could reach the target of all LGUs having their own science-based LCCAPs, in fact, it would be good, while you already had your budget hearing, if you could just show me top 3 LGUs with science-based LCCAP. I would be happy to see it and mandate it within the budget that the elements of the LCCAP of these LGUs should be integrated. And I would put that in a special provision in the DILG budget, which I am hearing, I think, tomorrow. DPWH today, DILG tomorrow. So this would really unlock our path towards a sustainable and climate resilient nation. So that is the reason why I ask all our experts, members of the academy, professors in universities and colleges, and to also help all of those who are professors in all our 112 state universities and colleges, from Tawi-Tawi, then Jolo, up north to Apari in Cagayan. It is our social responsibility to take part in efforts that will safeguard our society from the adverse effects of climate change. Now, another very important issue is the issue of climate finance, especially for a vulnerable country like the Philippines, where adaptation projects and programs are very much needed in every city or municipality. You know very well that the PSF, or the People Survival Fund, was enacted into law with the DOF as your partner and now the Development Bank of the Philippines. So it will be good if we really build capacity for all local governments who want to implement their local climate adaptation plans but don't have the resources. And you just teach them how to navigate through the difficult requirements of the PSF, which is really inherent in every project of government. Whether it's a DSWD or a DOLE project, it's just so difficult to comply and to access. But that's the way, because there's a commission on audit. So again, it's the role of the CCCOM with NGO partners and academe partners to help LGUs build capacity to submit projects for the PSF. Where only 4, I think, 2 or 4 LGUs have actually complied and have actually won or been awarded, but not yet awarded. It's been 2 years. So just a reminder, before the end of the year, while the funds may not revert because it is with the department or the DBP, Development Bank of the Philippines, you will not get your 1 billion budget for next year if you don't show that you've actually spent your 1 billion last year and this year. Sayang, because we see local governments in need of adaptation funding mechanisms. Now, we also know the Green Climate Fund. It's supposed to have $100 billion. It already has $10 billion. I even had a capacity building workshop in the Senate with local banks, agencies, just to be able to help. Because the GCF head, Ambassador Bamsi, even came to the Philippines early this year and asked us, can the Philippines please apply? Can our public and private sector please apply? So here they are asking us to apply where there are other countries that have accessed or at least were awarded already. I believe that's Vietnam, Mongolia even, Bangladesh. So this is very important that we know the sources of climate finance. And the PSF and GCF are just 2 of the many, many sources for adaptation and mitigation. I don't have to read my long speech, for which I have many pictures in the PowerPoint, because you know that already. So it would seem that we are not actually taking full advantage of all sources of climate funds, which we could be using right now for various climate change projects, for workshops and trainings to enhance our capacities. I think this is another aspect that I think the government should work closely with the members of the academe and various research organizations. So clearly, in the LCCAP, we need the academe and the CCCOM and private universities and colleges and NGOs. In climate finance, we need that as well, so that the academe could actually capacitate the local governments. Where would their financing be needed? For adaptation, for mitigation, what areas of resilience, for disaster risk reduction. And we know that climate finance is not a dole out.
this should be well studied. Saan akma ang pagbibigay ng technical at pinansyal na assistance para matulungan ang ating mga lokal na pamahalaan? What are the adaptation programs needed? We know that very well as the output of the workshop of the Climate Change Commission a few months ago, whether it is in installing rainwater harvesters, which is actually mandated by a 1989 law, or it's the actual segregation waste at source, recycling and composting of RA 9003, or the early warning systems, which we are already utilizing through Pag-asa DOST, but needs improvement in terms of operationalizing and localizing in languages and making remote communities part of it, in terms of utilizing natural buffers against storm surge and tsunamis and wind velocity, whether it's through the triangulated method of planting coconut palms or planting more mangroves, which is an integral part of a national greening program, or other natural ways of being a buffer against sea level rise and against storm surge. So there's really much to be done. And all of these are part of our resilience efforts. Yeah, nahuli yung slide because I skipped several pages. Okay, yes. Oh, that's an example of an MRF. I didn't want to go into details, but what I'm saying is that first, I would like to have a copy of the scientific deliberations and speeches from our experts today. And my job, which I need the Climate Change Commission to help me with, is to himayin, to actually simplify the science, the research, and the technical data into operational language that can be funded and used for programs and activities of government. And once they see that there are these sample prototypes and models and programs, the private sector will follow. Or better yet, let it be parallel, so that the private sector does it as well. An example would be the DAR budget, Department of Agrarian Reform, where there's more than 600 million for programs and activities for arts, agrarian reform communities. I would like the Climate Change Commission to look into that, so that the programs here for capital equipment can actually be for resilience building in the ARC communities. I would also like to see and have your inputs if the Sustainable Livelihood Program, 7 billion of the DSWD, which remains unspent, which I need to spend in the next 3 months, are actually sustainable livelihoods, which has resilience in its core. Or perhaps you could recommend it for next year so that their SLP will be resilient livelihood programs. And so my message this morning is we are on the right track. We have the laws, we have institutions of government, and most important, we have the resources. So with the law and the policy, with the resources, the money, and the people, and we have the need because we're a vulnerable nation. The challenge, and we're getting there, is to make sure the issue of DRR, CCAM, of resilience, is in the mindset of every department, every agency, every private sector establishment, every Filipino. And I think when I look back, I see Resi here because she was with me in my first term in 1998. When we were doing this in 98, Resi, no one understood us. And probably I was not understood or supported on the floor. Fast forward to 2017, they understand because they've seen what Ondoy, Sendong, and Pablo, and Yolanda did. They see the importance of what we've been doing for 20 years or more. Whether it's the Pasig River Commission or the Laguna Lake Development Authority and all of this. And so we're getting there. I'm just very impatient, and I sometimes push you to the limit, and you in CCCOM know that, because there's no time to waste. But when I actually look back, I see we have gone a long way when nobody understood what adaptation meant and disaster risk reduction and resilience. And so the greater challenge is for ROSA's research to find it not just in policy and law, but to implement it, to be implemented and used by the fisher folks and our farmers. And if the data from UP Los Baños, from the Manila Observatory, from the UP Resilience Center, or the National Resilience Center, or the UNISDR even, all of this, once they are gathered and simplified and operationalized, then we will say that we have made science work for us. And so on this occasion, I thank you once again for having me here. And while I am finished with my short message today, I am not finished with you, because I have given assignments to the Climate Change Commission to submit those, I hope you were taking notes, to your Committee on Finance. Thank you very much, and I would be happy to receive the scientific research of our national technical experts of the Philippines. Thank you.